many of us have shared our frustration that we just finished a session and now we're back here to consider a tax giveaway for a multi-billionaire without concessions made from the athletics in terms of the ramifications that might occur from such consideration of a proposal. As you may know, the stadium that is proposed and other sites that you have considered is in my district, and I have heard from residents that there is no direct response right now as to how to address the workers that will be displaced from those who are at the Tropicana and the traffic safety concerns that will be further worsened because of this current proposal. And I understand that you documented that, but it still does not show enough progress, at least from my concern. And I don't know if any of you have ever had the chance to drive on Frank Sinatra Drive on a Friday night at 6 p.m., but I sure have because it's my route to home and it's not fun. And it's saddening that we have this proposal, and we had proposals during the session. For instance, I carried a proposal that was going to provide coverage for kids who are undocumented for their cancer treatment. We couldn't even get that done, but now we have a tax giveaway, millions of dollars, and so it's kind of frustrating, at least from my side. Having said that, I do have a few questions that perhaps you guys could answer because I think it's important. And my last question is actually for the leadership of the athletics because I want to hear from them directly. So if the president is here, I would prefer for him to start walking down because I think it's important for the taxpayers to have that question answered. I don't know if the leadership of the Oakland A's. Thank you for being here.
Senator, yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you so much. Dave Cavill, president of the A's. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If you could restate the question, it'd be great.
Sure. So this is my final question. It's directly to you. So on page 39 of your presentation, you listed the tax revenue sources, and there's several tax revenue sources that will be included in the Sports and Entertainment and Improvement District. In one of them, you've listed the live entertainment tax, and that's something that is going to be captured. And so this question is directly to you as the leadership of the Oakland Athletics and your future presence. In the legislation before us, I find it a coincidence that there are funding considerations that will take certain tax percentages away from our county, and that's a problem. Having said that, I believe there's an equity issue that exists in our state, and I want to make sure that I get this from you directly. Given the gaps that we have seen, in conversations we've had throughout this session, it is clear that not everyone pays for the live entertainment tax. For example, in my district, which is also where the stadium is going to be located, we have venues like Sand Dollar. It's a local bar that features live bands, and they pay the live entertainment tax. But considerations like yours, athletic stadiums or events, would not have to pay for it. So I want to get this just on the record directly to you. Would you agree that it is important to maintain equity across all businesses and that you will commit to willingly pay for the live entertainment tax for baseball games and athletic events featured at this facility in the near future?
Well, I appreciate the question. Obviously, we're bringing the baseball team to Southern Nevada, over $1 billion in private capital. We're looking for a partnership, and we want to make sure that we're going to continue to invest in a variety of ways to improve this situation for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, in a variety of fashions beyond the live entertainment tax. So I think by bringing additional tourists and other ways that generate tax dollars for the community, we think our project can actually be a net positive for the community, plus the quality of life that comes with a baseball team.
Thank you so much for that. But that didn't answer my question. So again, it's a yes or no. Will you willingly commit to pay the live entertainment tax in the near future to fix the equity issue that exists?
Like I said, we are committed to being a great community partner in Southern Nevada and investing, over $1 billion to ensure
that still does not answer the question, sir. I'm asking you directly, yes or no. Will you commit to paying the equity issue that we see existence for the live entertainment tax?
The legislation as it's currently envisioned, does not contemplate that. The project is based on, what is currently proposed. And so we've been focusing on that as really the path forward for the team and for the community.
Thank you. I mean, I find that disingenuous. I asked you directly, you're going to be capturing this as part of your legislation, yet you can't even commit to doing it yourself. And so I think that's something that the taxpayers must know of this state, but I divert my questions for the next round. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President Pro Temp. I also rise in support of Senate Bill 1. I do have just a quick few remarks. Number one, I agree with my colleague. I think that within the time frame that this bill was introduced in the 82nd legislative session to the special session that we have before us today, and also from the presentation to what we're voting on, I believe that there are provisions in this legislation that have put more restrictions into actually delivering for the people of this state. I do want to mention a few things. Number one, my colleague mentioned of amendments that were accepted and reflected in this bill, and I want to touch point on a few of them. During my line of questioning, I mentioned that I had concerns with the homelessness provisions of the bill. I felt that it was too centered and narrowed towards the resort corridor, and the bill before us today has now expanded that to Clark County. I think that's important. We know that there are surrounding neighborhoods, particularly down the street from where I live, that is an issue that needs to be addressed. Second, I mentioned and reiterated my opposition to not being able to address the traffic concerns that the residents in my district were going to experience, considering the proximity to where we live. And the amendment before us also includes that. And then I also want to mention that the amendment also addresses one thing, which is probably historical in this state. With the amendment that we have today, there are now considerations for paid family and medical leave. That itself is a big deal. For years, families in this state have advocated for that luxury. We know that there are workers in this state that when they get sick, they're not able to take the appropriate time. I myself have had workers for the companies that I've worked for not being afforded that same luxury. And so we are setting a new standard as to how business is done in this state. And to end my remarks as to what led to what my support is for this bill, I think it goes to show that my personal background is I am the proud son of casino workers. My family members, as I've reiterated over and over again, work in the casinos. My dad has worked in the casinos for 20 years. My grandma worked at the Stratosphere. We all worked at the Stratosphere. And I have relatives all across the Las Vegas Strip. I had concerns with the bill of how workers would be displaced. And what I have, based on my internal conversations, is that the people of that particular district will be protected. But I also want to reiterate that when the COVID-19 pandemic first hit, my family members were the ones that were laid off, and I was the one that had to fill out their unemployment forms. It was a frustrating experience. It was an experience that I felt no child should ever have to go through. And so when I think about this proposal and the jobs that it can provide, I would hope that at least some child does not face the same circumstance that I did, and so I support this bill and the jobs that will be created and the lives that will be shaped beyond this bill. So thank you so much.